by. Absolute truths. Yeah, I see some heads nodding. And another question, what truths are important in your life? What are the truths and the basics that you live from? We're going to talk some about facts and truth today. But before that, I wanted to kind of give us a little perspective by sharing some important truths that have been shared by some little kids. Okay? So this is what some kids have thought. Here's one. No matter how hard you try, you can't baptize cats. True. When your mom is mad at your dad, don't let her brush your hair. If your sister hits you, don't hit her back because the second person always gets caught. Right, yeah. And this is one that's true for all of us still. You can't trust dogs to watch your food. Don't sneeze when someone's cutting your hair. And this one you may not ever need at this point in your life, but I'm going to share this wisdom anyway. You can't hide a piece of broccoli in a glass of milk. And then there's this truth, the last one, that I think is just absolutely wonderful. When you're sad, the best place to be is Grandma's lap. Yeah. I would say those were some pretty important truths to remember, don't you think? Especially that one about sneezing when somebody's cutting your hair. That could be serious. But seriously, what are some truths that we can live by, that we can really count on? In 1927, Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, wrote for the first Science of Mind magazine what's called What We Believe. It's said that right before the magazine was being published, they said, wait, we need a statement of what we believe. And so I think he flipped this out in less than an hour. But it has stood the test of time. So I am going to read what we believe. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence, indwelling God. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe in the universal spirit, which is God, who operates through the universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick and the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. So these are the foundations of our teaching. These are the truths that we can live by. I mean, we're taught that each of us is an individual expression of God, of the divine, of the supreme power, of that infinite love. And we're taught that through the power of this one mind, we can experience the healing of illness, the control of conditions in our lives. What a perfect life that sounds like. But even though we're taught that that's the truth about us, I don't know about any of you, but my life isn't totally showing up like that yet. There seem to be some facts in my life that are getting in the way of that absolute expression of perfection that I am told is possible for all of us. Sometimes we get sick. Sometimes stuff happens in the world that we're deeply affected by. Sometimes we get confused. Sometimes we seem too old. I love that you put that in your song. Too old or too young, too sick or too poor, to fill in the blank, to go forward in life in the way that we want to. Those are the kind of facts that seem to be part of our lives. Sometimes the facts in our lives don't match up to what we're told is our truth, that we are magnificent expressions of the divine, eternal in nature, unlimited in potential. So I am here to remind you today that whatever challenging facts are showing up in your life or have shown up in your life, that is not your highest truth. That your highest truth is to be an expression of the divine in your unique way. Now, we've come to this physical earth and these physical bodies that are limited. We're divine and we are totally human. I think of these bodies that we carry around as magic suits. We wear them for a lifetime, let them go. But while they're here, they're pretty magic. And I think that we've chosen these physical bodies because we can experience things in physical bodies that we couldn't experience if we didn't have a physical body. Think about the feel of the breeze or the sunshine or the rain on your face. Think about the sweet smell of the irises or roses or fresh baked cookies or bread. We need our bodies for this. Think about the beating of your heart and the rushing of your blood when you're excited or in love. Think about the tears that run down your cheeks when you're sad or grieving or hurting or feeling lost. All of those things are amazing things that we get to feel, we get to experience because we have these physical bodies. But we are far more than our bodies, far more than the facts of our lives. And we get to choose to dwell on the facts, on what's showing up, or to dwell on the truth of who we are. We can choose to live in the present moment. We can choose compassion. We can choose love. Let me tell you about Isaiah, who faced some pretty dismal facts in his life. Now, this story was originally shared by Andrew Harvey, who worked with Isaiah once he was an adult. Once Isaiah was an adult. But when Isaiah was 12, he was going through a particularly bad time, particularly during a very cold winter in a Nazi concentration camp. His father and mother and sister had all suffered slow deaths from starvation. And Isaiah didn't particularly think that he would last very long. And he never dreamed at that point that he would be rescued. Then one day, a sadistic guard beat Isaiah with a leather strap until he bled. This is a 12-year-old boy. And the crisis of what life is all about was all of a sudden up for Isaiah. It's like, what is this all about? He said, all I knew was that I had to decide once and for all whether the horror I saw around me was the ultimate reality, or whether the joy and tenderness I could still feel stirring inside me was the truth. I knew that they couldn't both be the truth. So this was a constant struggle and a point of concentration for Isaiah. He said, I wept over it. I wrestled with it. I had to know or I would drown in the darkness. For the first time, I started to pray. My prayer, which I began to repeat at every moment, was only 4 words. Show me the truth. Show me the truth. But nothing came. Not a single insight, not a single vision, no sweet angel in the middle of the night to comfort him. And yet he continued to pray. And then one winter morning, he heard a voice that was not quite of this world, a voice that whispered to him, you must decide. You must decide. Now, that's a voice that could be whispering at any time to each of us as well. You must decide. And Isaiah thought, what could be the meaning of this? How could I, a mere child, decide the truth of the universe? Then one morning, when Isaiah awakened, he began to think about his mother, and his heart was so full. And he thought about his cat back home. And he thought about the vegetable garden and the flower garden that were outside the kitchen. And he, all of a sudden, when his heart was so profoundly opened by these memories, he cried out, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. And then Isaiah said he opened his eyes and he saw a sun that was not of this world, he said. There was a blazing glory all around me. The guard I hated came out of another building. He didn't see me, but I saw him. And the miracle was that I felt no fear at all. No hatred, only a burning pity that scalded my eyes with tears. The thing in me that was crying out, I choose love, was stronger than anything or anyone I had ever encountered. It felt like a calm column of fire that nothing could put out. I choose love. Now, it was that mantra, that transformational experience that enabled Isaiah to move through the rest of his time in that concentration camp and to go on to live a life in which he could share his story and in which he could share his love. Now, he had some facts to overlook. And like Isaiah, we all have facts to overlook. If you don't have any facts to overlook in your life, talk to me afterwards because you're going to be my guru, you know. But like Isaiah, we can look beyond the facts of life. We can look beyond life's challenges to the inherent truth and the amazing possibilities that they offer. We can choose love. We can choose love. Now, some of you are old enough to remember the old police detective show Dragnet. Now, in Dragnet, Sergeant Joe Friday, badge 714, was known for saying, "Give me the facts, ma'am, only the facts." He didn't want any extraneous information. "Give me the facts, ma'am, only the facts." Now, if you're doing a murder investigation, which he often was every week, then the facts, ma'am, just the facts, might be enough. And might not. We've come a long way. But in real life, if we want to connect with people, we want to know more about them than the facts. We want to know more than how old they are and how much money they have and where they've come from and what they do for a living. If we're going to connect with people in intimate ways, we want the truth. We want more than the facts. And that means that we get to share more than just the facts. We get to share what's on our hearts. We get to share what makes us tick. We get to share what's really, really important about us. Now, I love Oriah Mountain Dreamer's poem, The Invitation. And there's going to be a handout. I'm going to put these, hopefully I'm going to remember. Actually, I'm going to put these here. And afterwards, this poem is on this handout, and so is the What We Believe that I read before. So if you would like that, they're yellow sheets, and they will be in the lobby. But for now, I want to read, Oriah Mountain Dreamer's poem, The Invitation. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of life. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day. If you can source your own life from that presence of beauty. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the moon, yes! It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you. What sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in those empty moments. So this week, I invite you to transcend the facts of your life, to remember and share the ultimate truth of who you are as an amazing expression of the divine. You have come here with a desire to grow, with a desire to expand, and with the ability to choose love in every moment and every situation. You up for that? Yeah. Let's take that into prayer as practitioners. Stand with me in high consciousness. The truth. Beyond the facts, there is the truth of the one life that is living us all. Beyond the facts, there is the truth that in any situation, in any relationship, in any conflict, we can choose love. There is the truth that there is a love within each one of us that is waiting to be expressed in an even greater way. And so what I know for each of us, because we are each made of that divine stuff, because I know that because I am made of that divine stuff, all that God is and has is mine to call upon and use. And so I use this creative power to claim for myself and for each one of us that as we go forward this week, it is in blessing. It is in remembering our truth. It is in remembering that we can decide. That we get to decide what life is about for us. And so what I claim is that Spirit makes it easy for each one of us to choose joy, to choose love, to choose health, to choose abundance. For it is all here for us. And so I know that we are blessed, blessed, blessed. I know that as we go forward this week, each one is given what they need. As we go forward this week, it is into a pathway of love, supported by our angels and helpers and guides and whatever other forms of the divine we can relate to. So knowing that we are blessed, I get to just be grateful, grateful, grateful for the unfolding of this in wondrous and magical and delightful ways. And so I'm grateful. I let it go. I let God take care of it now. I let Spirit take over. And so it is.